Hi, I'm John Moulis. You might remember me from my various videos on YouTube about work situation and karaoke, reminiscences about Phillip College, workplace bullying and federal politics, all manner of videos I've made for YouTube. But today I'd like to tell you about a subject and get something off my chest which has been annoying me for quite a long time. And that's the state of society the state in which society has been destroyed by the TV show The Simpsons. Now, The Simpsons has been a bugbear of mine for a long time. I just hate it. I absolutely hate that show because of the values it represents, because of the attitudes that it has, and just the storylines of it, and just the whole thing in general. It's just a rotten show, which I believe has done terrible damage to society, and I think it needs to be taken off the air as quickly as possible. But in saying that, I think that probably the worst damage has already been done by that show. I mean, we have a whole generation now which grew up watching that show, which took fat, obese people like Homer Simpson, a failed father, an absolute disaster with a big gut, being portrayed as some sort of hero, some sort of role model that kids should look up to. I mean, and then you have Bart Simpson, the character, the little smart-ass, cheeky character there, with his back talking and everything like that. And I think it's no coincidence that all of this juvenile delinquency, all of this juvenile crime and gang activity, everything that started up during the 1990s, coincided with The Simpsons being on air. Now, that show, I have to admit that I was a fan of The Simpsons in the early days. But by that stage, I was already over 30. I was already in my 30s, and it probably didn't do as much damage to me than it did to young kids. The problem with The Simpsons is that it's animated, it's a cartoon, and that is a signal that it's a kids' show. And it was screened on TV here in children's time slots, even though a lot of the plot lines and a lot of the storylines were really quite disturbing. Because it was an animated show, in Australia it was shown during children's viewing time and in prime time. And I have to admit that some of it I was a fan of. I quite liked a couple of the episodes. I liked the episode about where Bart visits Australia. I thought that was good. I saw that as a first run episode. But the rest of it was just garbage. I mean, a lot of the storylines were just offensive. For example, that character, that Lisa Simpson character, with just that annoying voice, those politically correct left-wing attitudes that she has. And then that episode, that Lisa the vegetarian episode, where she wrecks her father's barbecue. Her father had organised a barbecue with a whole lot of people, and she set about wrecking it because she had suddenly become a vegetarian, and she felt that nobody should eat meat. So she goes around about wrecking the family's barbecue, and she was there with the gazpacho tomato soup and everything, trying to suggest to, people who wanted to have a barbecue that they have this other crap instead. I mean, well, as far as I'm concerned, that was when The Simpsons jumped the shark with that episode. And if I remember, that episode came in about 1992, which was 3 years after The Simpsons started on TV. Now, I think that after that episode went to air, the show should have been axed. It had jumped the shark and really... And the ratings weren't all that good for The Simpsons either. But for some inexplicable reason, they've kept it on air for all of these years. And it's still on the air today as I speak. Hopefully, after this video appears on YouTube, Fox Television in America will axe it, but I don't think so. I mean, Fox Television seems to allow all manner of rubbish on the TV, and they don't do anything about it. But getting back to that Homer Simpson character, there's something about that Homer Simpson voice that really jangles my nerves. There's just something, I don't know what it is. It's the timbre of the voice, maybe the tone of the voice, the accent. There's just something about that voice that creates this violent reaction in me. Look, I have to take a rest now because my blood pressure's getting up. When I talk about that Homer Simpson, that character and everything to do with that character, it is just wrong. It's just all wrong. And also, that Homer Simpson character, I believe that Homer Simpson character created the obesity crisis that we've got in this country of people deliberately getting fat and getting big guts and being unhealthy and obese. They see Homer Simpson as being some sort of role model. They see this character on the TV in prime time and in a hit show, and people think they should aspire to that. People think that they should get fat and that they should overeat and be slothful and just, sit in a chair all day and sit in a hammock all day and do absolutely nothing. And the other thing, I've already talked about Bart Simpson. How Bart Simpson became some sort of a hero. I remember when The Simpsons started, it became a really trendy thing. I can remember at the 1990 Summer Nats in Canberra, guys walking around in Bart Simpson t-shirts with, hi, I'm Bart Simpson, who the hell are you? But that is the problem with American TV shows, that in America they have a lot more leniency towards failed TV shows. I mean, here in Australia, if a show goes on the TV and doesn't draw ratings, it's quickly yanked off. They yank it off the TV straight away. I mean, there are shows in this country which have only aired once. They were shown once, the ratings were bad, and they were yanked off the air. I mean, I know that for a fact that there are programs where they made something like about 36 episodes or 2 seasons. They showed one of them on the TV. The ratings were terrible, and so they yanked it off the TV after just 1 episode, and they never showed it again. But in America, you've got this Hollywood star system. You've got very powerful unions. You've got all of this, and the TV stations are part of that. And actors and performers have a lot more power than they do in Australia. So a TV station in America is reluctant to pull a program off the TV unless there are really compelling reasons to pull it off, or if they if there's a new management or something like that. I know that in the late 1960s, Green Acres, the Beverly Hillbillies, Hee Haw, and a whole lot of other programs were pulled off the air at the same time. Successful programs, they were pulled off the air at the same time because a new management had moved in and they didn't want any sort of country hillbilly type shows on, and they brought in a whole lot of new shows to try and target a well-heeled city demographic. But as far as shows like The Simpsons are concerned, they stay on the air. And I've come up with a reason why. Well, I think that The Simpsons has stayed on air now for about 22 or 23 years, is that Fox Television in America don't have very many high-rating programs, that they're languishing in the doldrums, and The Simpsons represents a golden era for Fox Television in America. That they've got Fox News now and Fox Sports and all that sort of thing now, but as far as the main Fox channel is concerned, they don't have very many shows which are successful at all. That they're content to just be sort of a second-rate TV network, and The Simpsons is a throwback to a golden era for Fox Television in America and 20th Century Fox. It's a throwback to an era where that program and other programs produced by them were very popular and very successful, and I don't know, they've probably got people in there running the station who were there in the late 80s, early 90s when all these programs started up. And so you've probably got somebody there who is sympathetic to it, who thinks that it's somehow symbolic of the network. I mean, I can remember when Foxtel started here in Australia in 1995. The Simpsons was the main selling point for Foxtel. They put out car stickers which had the Bart Simpson character there with Foxtel written on top of it, and you've got a whole channel on Foxtel which plays almost non-stop episodes of The Simpsons, and that is it. You know, you have this being pumped out over and over again for hours on end each day. And even before Foxtel started, Channel 10 here in Australia, there were points where they were showing The Simpsons. They were showing something like about 6 episodes of The Simpsons a day. They were showing it during the children's programs, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. They were showing it at 6 o'clock. I mean, they're still showing it at 6 o'clock on the main channel now. And they were showing it in prime time at 7:30, and they were showing it late at night as well. You know, I mean, to keep pumping that out, to keep brainwashing these kids, telling them that this is the way you should live, that this is what a family is, this is a lifestyle that you should that you should aspire to, that this is somehow normal. It's terrible. And I think that The Simpsons is the program which destroyed a whole generation. It poisoned the minds of a generation. I mean, I'm interested in mental health and psychological damage done by workplace bullying and things like that. But I think this show, The Simpsons, has done more psychological damage than any amount of workplace bullying in later years. Anyway, that's about it. The thing's about to run out now. I've come up to my 20-minute limit. But I think we should ponder these points about The Simpsons and whether we should still allow this program to go to air. I think it should be pulled off air straight away. I really do think it should be pulled off air and that all the tapes should be burnt. And hopefully after this video comes on YouTube, we might see some action in that direction. We might see it being taken off the air or being put onto digital channels away from mainstream viewing. Anyway, that's it for my bit. I hope you've found this interesting and educational. Goodbye from John.